Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions and more football content. But Nick Wright joins us live, and I start with this. I generally don't take 11-4.
Oh, sorry, Colin. It's just nice to see the Chiefs back on the Herd hierarchy. I was celebrating. Sorry, yeah, go ahead. You were saying 11-4. I'm sorry.
I don't do it, but the truth is, you've got to be honest about this, is they just needed one legitimate big-time perimeter threat. They did, and suddenly everybody else looks good and all the underneath stuff works. But the bigger story is that I never buy into this. I've always said this. You can go into slumps with golf, so much downtime gets in your head, or baseball, sitting around. But in hockey, basketball, football, you got to play. You don't have time to get into a slump. Stuff doesn't get into your head. And then I watched Lamar against Kansas City. And I am convinced they are in his head, right?
Well, to a degree, yes. But so there's a lot to unpack here, Colin. So let me take some time because I even saw your tweet saying I tried to tell J-Mac about when Xavier Worthy came back. And listen, I'm all for you giving J-Mac a hard time for his Chiefs skepticism. But I watched the Super Bowl bubble on Friday's episode. You know who wasn't even in the bubble for the bubble? The Chiefs. Yeah, exactly. And you knew Xavier Worthy was coming back. So you didn't even make it to October before you had to admit your Chiefs' pessimism was unfounded. And by the way, where is the greatest coach-quarterback combo in Southern California history? The Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, no. They're dealing with an injury. Now they're all of a sudden not a top 10 team, but to the Ravens, which is I know where you wanted to go. I just need to get that off my chest.
All right.
Listen, the Chiefs are in Lamar's head, and he doesn't perform well in big spots. It's just, we do this same exact dance, we in the media, every year with this player. He is transcendent through a regular season. People say he's taken his game to a new level. He wins or comes close to winning an MVP. He's the highest rated passer ever. He's all of this. Then in a big spot, he plays his worst game of the year. Everyone for a moment is like, kind of reminds me a bit of a guy who used to play shooting guard in Houston that we all thought was an all-time great, but tightened up in big spots and couldn't get it done. And then we forget and it goes all over again. In the last 30 games, Colin, Lamar has 3 multi-turnover games. In his last 30, the AFC title game against the Chiefs, the divisional round playoff game against Buffalo, and Sunday against the Chiefs. He is the highest passer rating in NFL history and the 3rd highest winning percentage in NFL history. Yet against Patrick, he has an 80 passer rating and is 1-6. People don't want, for some reason, to admit that Lamar is afflicted by something that has afflicted great athletes across all of sports history. He gets a little tight in big spots. Yeah. He doesn't play his best in the biggest moments. We have no problem. The baseball playoffs are about to start. Everybody acknowledges Aaron Judge is one of the greatest players of all time, yet he comes up to this point in his career consistently short in the postseason, plays his worst ball in the biggest moments, and you wonder if he'll get over it. We did it with James Harden. I don't understand why it is so hard for people to acknowledge that is the case with Lamar. And by the way, you saw it in this game. He's instantly throwing his helmet. He's instantly on tilt. Like, it just is what it is. Maybe he'll get over it, but it's a big sample size at this point.
So, you know, it's interesting with Caleb Williams is that one of the things I've always bragged about Steph Curry and Patrick Mahomes is they're spectacular, but they never miss the layups. The stuff in the flat, I mean, they don't miss the layups. There have been a lot of guys. Cam Newton was spectacular. He missed a lot of layups. His mechanics were bad. Sure. Caleb Williams makes big-time throws. Justin Fields is talented, never does. Dink and dunk. Caleb makes big throws down the field. And I do honestly believe he's running less than he could. You can tell he's taking to coaching. But I am worried a little bit that they had 3 picks off Geno and needed a block kick because the operations, the layup stuff, Nick, it's hard to watch. False starts on 4th down. Like, I'm like, this stuff didn't seem hard for Mahomes or Steph. It was just, it's not pretty, right?
Listen, I think that's totally fair. Where I would, and I don't know if you and I agree or disagree on this, but if I am trying to, if I am getting a quarterback who could be my franchise quarterback, and you're like, listen, he's not a perfect prospect, would you rather prospect A or B? A guy who, makes all the layups, has all the process stuff down, but has a pretty hard ceiling on what the upside is, or a guy like Caleb, whose ceiling is he could be MVP of the league, can make the fantastic, amazing plays, but what's the layups, as you put it, is a work in progress. I would go option B because I feel like that stuff can get better over time, but I don't think it's going to be overnight. I do think it's going to be over time. Listen, I was wrong about that, obviously. I thought it was going to be overnight. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl last year. He is not as far along from in the fundamentals, the building blocks, as I thought he would be. But listen, he's a very different player. And I'm only comping it in this one way as far as being far away on the fundamentals. That's what Josh Allen was as a young player. Josh had these wow plays, but couldn't, was very inaccurate, couldn't complete his passes, and then got better at that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I like betting on the upside, but I agree with you in this regard. Right now, the Bears are a team who can look absolutely amazing for a quarter, and then the very next quarter look like the worst offense in the league. Yeah. And I think that's going to be a process over the course of the year.
I think the Josh Allen comp it's very accurate. Like Josh's first year and a half, he was jumping over linebackers and sailing balls on screen passes.
Yes.
It was interesting. You and I have been very critical of Cowboys. I think Dak's playing out of his mind, and Schottenheimer deserves credit. But I thought the overreaction to the Micah trade was over the top. I think you have to be great at 3 things to be a great team: head coach, quarterback, and left tackle. The only times Mahomes has ever gotten blown out, it's a left tackle issue. It's not a defense. Sure. He's won a Super Bowl with a bad defense. He's won a Super Bowl with no great receivers. Bad left tackle, blown out twice. The Rams' worst year is Andrew Whitworth retires. They were good when Aaron Donald left. They were good when Cooper Kupp left. They're good when Von Miller left. Andrew Whitworth retires. They're bad. And I look at Micah and I'm like, the Packers are going to lead games late with their offense. They need a closer. Dallas is fine. I look back at it and I'm like, I think Jerry Jones, we're so unwilling to give him credit. I watched that game Sunday. I'm like, I get 4 first-round picks in Dallas? What did Micah do? Where are you on that deal?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think you've let Jerry mind meld you a bit because the 4 first-round picks, they got 2. They already had 2. So, the 2 first-round picks. And I think it would be unfair, Colin, for me to judge the trade fully from the Dallas end until we see the picks, right? Like, they traded for Kenny Clark and picks that they haven't used yet. So obviously in the short term, it's going to look better for Green Bay, and then we have to take a long view of it for Dallas. But I watched Dallas play, Colin, and I think I come to the opposite opinion of you because I've been so impressed by Dak, because I have been pleasantly surprised. Shout out to, FS1's Eric Mangini, who really believed in Brian Schottenheimer when I don't think anybody really thought that was a great hire. I think he's done an awesome job early on. But that has made me like this trade worse, Colin, because I watched the Cowboys and I'm like, my God, if they just could be average on defense, they could be really interesting. They just put 40 on Green Bay without CeeDee Lamb. they damn near beat the Packers. You know, their offense has been so good that I watched the Cowboys and I'm like, man, you know what they could use? An elite pass rusher, which they used to have. Like, I almost would feel better about this trade for Dallas if Dak were having a bad year. Because to me, then it would be like, okay, they weren't that close. They weren't going to compete for anything this year. So let's retool it. But it feels to me like this team would be 3-1 had they just kept Micah and be an actual dangerous team. So that, for me, makes it harder to deal with if I were a Cowboys fan.
So J-Mac and I had a disagreement on this. I said, you, an accountant, a judge, a novelist, an actor, in most careers, you got about 25 years of prime and you can work to your 70s. You can't as a pro football player. And so A.J. Brown, and I do think winning matters, but he's already got a trophy. I do think if you went to Kobe and said, listen, you get 6 shots a game, Kobe would have been like, peace out, I'm going to go somewhere else. A.J. Brown gets fewer yards than the 3rd Buffalo Bills tight end. He's got money and he's got a trophy. His legacy is on the line. He's not necessary. They try to target him. 9 targets, 7 yards. Most of the time, he's just not. And I think if I was A.J. Brown, this sounds selfish, but I think pro athletes get cornered into, well, it's about winning games. Well, that's part of it. And it's transformational money, and there's legacies involved. And my take is if I was A.J. Brown, I'd go to Philadelphia and I'd say quietly, I'm not going to screw the market up. I'm not going to do a mellow with the Nuggets to the Knicks where I make it public and the Nuggets are trapped.
Yeah.
I would go and just say, hey, Lou Alcindor did this a year before he got traded. I don't want to be here. Make a deal. I think A.J. Brown has a right to leave. I am defending him, not staying with a better organization. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think that it would be hypocritical for me to be mad at A.J. Brown for acting, I'm pretty sure, exactly how I would act in his position. Like, I'd be like, if I'm A.J. Brown, I'm like, I'm awesome. I've always been awesome. I get drafted by a team that has Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, and they throw to me as like a last resort. I think it traded to Philadelphia. Right when I get there, they throw the ball to me a bunch. I make all these all-pros. The team's really good. And now, over the last 20 games, our team has become unbeatable, and I've become unusable. Like, what the hell has happened here?
Right.
And so this is, like, I try to give grace to, athletes if I can think of a comp for me and what I would do. Like, if somebody, if Fox came to me and they're like, hey, Nick, we want you to do a 60-second essay during the Super Bowl. There's going to be 120 million people watching. Now, in order to do it, the whole week leading up to the Super Bowl, you can't do your show. But we'll have more people seeing you there. It's a bigger thing. I'd probably in my head be like, yeah, I kind of want to do my show. Like, I kind of like and so like I think there is, if you feel like you're great at something and you feel like you're not able to show it, and it's not because your skills have declined, it can be frustrating. And so I think this is a simmering pot, Colin, that they are very, and I give the Eagles, I think it's fair to have them number 1 in the hierarchy because I respect the fact that they win so many different ways. They blocked the field goal 2 weeks ago to win the game. They blocked a punt this week to set the game up to win. But there have been, I did this morning, there have been 256 halves of football played so far this year. The worst and second worst passing performance by half for the whole league this season was the first half for Philadelphia 2 weeks ago and the second half for Philadelphia this past week. That should never happen when you have a really good quarterback, a great wide receiver, another really good receiver, a good receiving back, and a good tight end. Something is off right now about their offense, but they're winning anyway. If they're not going to change that, then I would not begrudge if A.J. Brown were like, hey, you know a team that wants to throw the ball, that needs a star receiver, that my former head coach is the head coach of in New England.
Yes.
Why don't you see if you can work something out? And if you're Philly, he might be worth more to you in draft capital as your roster gets more expensive than he is on the team because they're not effectively using him.
Yeah, you and I agree on that. And I think it's very easy in the media to always say, oh, the player's not about winning. It'd be one thing if he didn't have a ring, but once you get the trophy and you've got the money, legacy matters. It absolutely
He's trying to make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The guy's trying to make the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
I referenced this last time we talked about this. I'm just going to reference it again. He told the world 3 days after the Super Bowl, he put on Instagram, I wondered how long winning a Super Bowl would make me feel good. The answer is about 2 days. And then he said, I play this game to see the demoralized defensive back who realizes they can't do anything with me. He's been very honest. He wants to be a dominant individual player, and he feels correctly that will help his team. It's not like that's going to hurt his team. And if I were him, I'd be frustrated too.
Good stuff, Nick Wright. Chargers are 11. It should be noted the Chiefs were 11 last week. I moved them to...
Who knows? Chargers could do it. Listen, not everybody, Colin, not every AFC West team can go to the Meadowlands and get a win. Mine can. I don't know about you guys, but mine can do it. See you later, buddy.
All right. It doesn't take a long time for excellence to surface. So we're a month into the season. It goes 17 games. We're not even a quarter of the way into the season. And right now, if you look at the AFC and NFC playoff teams today, I think this is mostly what it's going to look like. In the AFC, you have Buffalo, Chargers, Indy, and Pittsburgh, and Kansas City. I don't think Jacksonville and Cincinnati will maintain their playoff spot. I would pick Denver and New England. So I think 5 of the 7 will remain. I think in the NFC, it goes Philadelphia, Niners, Detroit, Tampa, Seattle, Rams, Green Bay. Washington, I think if Jaden Daniels gets healthy, will make it. I don't buy into San Francisco. I don't think they have the roster or the quarterback of Seattle. I don't think they have the roster or the quarterback of the Rams. I think San Francisco, as predicted, will finish 3rd. But a lot of this stuff, we're a month in. I mean, Cincinnati obviously is not going to be a playoff team. They were, but it does not take long for, it's hard to pick games when you add lines. Like, I know the Colts are going to beat the Raiders. Are they going to beat them by 6.5? I think they are. You add lines, you make picks. I had a winning week. Don't always. That's tough. Picking divisions. I said this 5 years ago. I bang on it every year. The more reliant the league is with quarterbacks, the easier it is. It's becoming the NBA. A month in, you know who can play. Baltimore Sun reporter Brian Wacker says Lamar Jackson probably misses Sunday's game with a Texans hamstring injury. All right, here's the schedule for week 5. I've already got my 2 favorite games. I have an upset game to keep your eye on. If I could bet the Rams at home against San Francisco in the Blazing 5, I would. I think LA wins. Keep your eye on the Saints at home and the New York Giants as a possible upset. My lock is the Rams. I also love the Colts at home against the Raiders, -6.5. I think the Saints are a very tasty upset potential. And keep your eyes, New England at Buffalo. A little upset alert. That game will be close. J-Mac, what jumps out? Do you have a lock and an upset?
A lot of stuff. Number one, the Saints are favored over the Giants.
Oh, they are now.
That is a shocker. It was pick 'em. Now I see -1. I'm looking at Monday night, Colin. So remember last week at this time, we're like, oh my gosh, how good are the Chargers? They're loaded. They go and kind of sort of lay an egg, okay? Everybody's gassing up the Chiefs. They got Xavier Worthy back. This is a new team. They just smashed the Ravens. They're in the herd hierarchy. Jags at home Monday night getting a field goal.
Yeah.
Can I interest you in Jacksonville?
No, because
Jacksonville.
I watched Jacksonville against San Francisco. they are so mistake prone.
Okay.
They're so weird culturally, is that Kansas City does one thing well, really well. They don't turn the ball over. If you beat them, you beat them. I do think it'll be interesting because I think Jacksonville's got real talent. ATN, that running back, I mean, they got playmakers. I mean, Travis Hunter, you know what's funny about that game? Jacksonville's not interesting to most people, but Travis Hunter, he's not dominating as a receiver or a corner. Pick a lane. We said that before the draft. Pick a lane. What are you going to do? He's just a really good athlete. It's the NFL. Everybody's a good athlete. I mean, the whole league's full of great athletes.
Okay.
I think.
So my Atlanta Falcons are not on the board. I don't have to bet them this week, thankfully. No. Arizona favored by like 8, 9, 10. It's going up against the Titans.
I love them. I really like them. Can I say this? What happens if Darnold beats Baker?
Nothing. Hey,
no, I'm just saying for my stance on this. Now, I do think Baker's really good. I've always said I thought Darnold was the more natural talent. What if Sammy Darnold?
I know you love Sam. So, Colin, the gambling is a great equalizer. I'm here looking at futures for the win the division, okay? NFC West. Rams are the favorite, followed by the 49ers.
Nope.
And the Seahawks are plus 370 at, I don't know if I should say it, but they're plus 370 to win the division. You want to put 100,000, whatever you want to put? Seattle, your guy Darnold.
Watch Seattle play and watch San Francisco play. What is the younger, more athletic, more dynamic roster? And I don't think it's close.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, though. Remember.
I know, but my Seahawks are going to be healthy. Younger guys get healthier faster after injuries.
Yeah.
And Brian Baldinger is going to join us. He played in the NFL for 13 years, NFL Network. And as I watched them, I thought to myself, Baldy, this is something you would know that I wouldn't, is that I do think guys like Sean Payton and Sean McVay, Andy Reid have a greater sense of the offensive line and have been able to rebuild offensive lines very quickly. I think offensive coaches tend to see that world better. But there is something about Aaron coming to Pittsburgh, and I watched that run game, and I'm like, oh, this is a 2025 offense. I mean, can a quarterback help a run game, a veteran quarterback?
Yeah, absolutely. They only threw it 22 times the other day, but they had to go all the way to Dublin to find the run game. They'd struggled, but Kenneth Gainwell got his first start. It was an underrated signing. Andy Weidel, who's in the Pittsburgh front office now with Omar Khan. I mean, he helped draft Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis when he was in Philadelphia. They signed him this offseason to be a backup and special team player, but he's always been a good player. He just played behind Saquon last year, didn't notice him. But, I mean, he gave him 100 yards rushing, made some good runs and some good catches as well. But they got the running game going, and then Aaron Rodgers, I mean, it was like Ali jabs out there.
Yeah.
Like, this is a Z in right here, West Coast offense, but he hit DK right there in stride, he goes 80 yards. I mean, they did that to Jerry Rice. They did that to Sterling Sharp. I mean, that play has been around for a long time. And short pass, long run, that's kind of what it is. But look how quickly he's getting rid of the football. He just doesn't want to get hit anymore, but he still has that ability to just hit these pop passes and bounce it up with the run game. So the offense looked real good against a very talented defense.
So there's been kind of an unsolvable dilemma with the San Francisco 49ers, who now play on a short week and go on the road. And against a younger, athletic, physical Rams defense, it does not bode well. They face, I've never seen a team this banged up for 4 years in a row. It never ends, and they're banged up again. I thought the CBA limited practices. Is it hitting? Is it a medical staff that may be over their skis? I mean, what explains this?
Well, I mean, you could say, okay, Fred Warner never misses a game in 8 years. He started every game, and he's their best defensive player and has been. But yes, I mean, Nick Bosa goes down. Kittle goes down. Ayuk is, on the mend. McCaffrey basically missed the season last year. Purdy has got a bad time. I mean, you go through all their great players. I mean, the problem is that if your best players who you're paying the most amount of money to aren't playing, then you're not getting your bang for your buck. And so that's an issue right now. And that catches up to you because the Rams rebuilt that defensive line through the draft. There's not a guy that's 25 years old in that defensive line right now.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty interchangeable, led by Jared Verse. So, and they're healthy. So it's going to be a problem in what becomes a home game for San Francisco at SoFi on Thursday night.
Yeah, it is it not? So I made this argument earlier today. A.J. Brown's got a trophy, and he's got his money. He is now playing for the Hall of Fame. And I've always supported football players. I've said, listen, basketball guys don't get tackled. Baseball guys, if they're non-pitchers, can play forever. Hockey guys, again, long careers. Football players, interior linemen, football players, certain positions, you get about 6 great years. And I look at A.J. Brown, and they're trying, Baldy, but 9 targets and 7 yards every other week. And he came from Tennessee that also struggled to get him the ball. Would you be a bad teammate, or would you understand if he said, listen, I'm not going to go public. I'd like to be moved at the deadline. I'm not useful here. I've been a good guy. I've taken it for the team. You don't use me. I got you a trophy. Could you move me? Would you be shocked, and is that a bad teammate?
Well, I would be shocked. It's a good situation in Philly. I mean, they're down 26-7 to the Rams 2 weeks ago, and all they did was feed A.J. Brown. He was the difference in the game. But that was because it was dictated by the situation being down in the third quarter by that amount of margin. The thing about A.J. is this. He's different than other wide receivers in that his mentality is like an offensive tackle. He wants to absolutely obliterate the opponent in front of him. Yep. He wants to take every corner the way Lane Johnson takes every defensive end, or Jordan Mailata takes every defensive end and wants to drill him into the dirt and have him eat grass. That's what AJ wants to do. But if he doesn't ever get that chance, then that's what frustrates him. It's not the lack of targets or the lack of use. It's that he can't use his physical skills to beat Marshawn Lattimore up, to beat Trayvon Diggs up, like to pound these guys. And that's what I've talked to AJ about it. He's not a me guy, but he doesn't get that opportunity. That frustrates him.
So there's always been this sense that you can't fool the players. And when the Cowboys traded Micah, a lot of people said, well, you're going to lose the locker room because everybody loved Micah. And my take was, well, they all love Dak, and they all respect CeeDee Lamb. Micah had his podcast. Micah was always kind of a see-ball, attack ball guy. I don't know if that – I watched Dallas last couple of weeks, Brian. It looks like they have great spirit. I think they're playing better than their talent. I thought that the good argument to not trade him was he's a good player, but you may lose the room, and Schottenheimer's not Andy Reid. I don't see it. I don't see an affected football team.
You didn't see that defense give up 40?
Well, yeah.
On Sunday, you didn't see the defense give up 37 to the Giants?
But they were bad with him.
No, they weren't that bad. They weren't giving up 37 or 40 points a game. In fact, I don't think they've ever given up 40 points when Mike is out there. Look, when you have star players, like sometimes you got to kiss their ass. Like you got to baby them. You can't treat them all the same. And so Mike has got a different personality, but so many defensive linemen and pass rushers are different. They're just different. They're not your offensive line sitting around taking out the trash at night. Like these guys are different animals. And so you got to be, Jimmy Johnson wouldn't get rid of Micah Parsons. No way. Bill Parcells wouldn't get rid of Micah Parsons. And I'm not saying that's why they got rid of him. I'm just saying when you get a great player, you figure out a way to keep him because they have no pass rush right now. And that's one of the reasons why Russell Wilson could look like Russell Wilson, circa 2015.
It's funny. This week, Baker plays Sam Darnold. They came out in the same draft. I was a huge Darnold guy. Not as much Baker. I thought he needed to grow up. When Baker had some early success in Cleveland, Sam, for about 5 years, it was ugly. Yeah. Are you shocked by this, or were you always he just needs the right spot, or did you think, you know what, he's overwhelmed, his delivery's slow, he's a little reckless? Because Baker showed moments early. Sam didn't. They play this week. Are you shocked by the resurgence of Darnold?
I'm not shocked just because I know Sam. But, if you spend a year, with, the way he did, in San Francisco, and you watch, this is how quarterbacks are supposed to, get coached. This is what quarterback, the luxury of having Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and McCaffrey. Oh, this is what it's like when you have, just all those riches around you, what you can do with the ball, how Brock Purdy played. Like, he saw some other places, and he's like, okay. And now he's got, a similar situation right now where he's got a good offense line in Seattle. He's got a good coach in Clint Kubiak. He's got a good system. He's got a go-to guy in Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's got enough pieces around him in the run game. Like, Sam could do this. I believe in Sam, and he's a good athlete. He's smart, and he's diligent. And so he's got everything it takes to be really good. Baker was a walk-on at Texas Tech. All he did was compete. He walked on at Oklahoma. Yes, he was the #1 pick, but he took Cleveland to the playoffs and won a playoff game. Like, Baker's just a fiery competitor that just refuses, like what he did last week against Philadelphia. He made those 70-yard touchdown throws. Like, he gave it everything he had in that heat to try and to beat the Eagles. They just came up a little short.
Finally, Caleb Williams, there is no questioning the horsepower. But, man, operations, Baldy, I mean, false starts, dirting screen passes. Can you be really successful, multiple playoff wins, if the layups are a struggle? I know the firepower's there. I see the arm. Can you win a bunch of games if you're a guy that's the floor can get really low really fast?
Well, he was playing with two, rookie backup tackles last week and still had a decent game. Theo Benedette out there and Ozzie Trapillo. I mean, that's not ideal. But, however, he is missing some layups, but he's also got some wow factor to him. I believe in Ben Johnson. I think, just what he did with Tyson Bagent in the preseason, Colin. Like, he was always talking about Bagent. Like, and he gave him a contract and all this stuff. I think everything was to motivate and to light a fire under Caleb. Like, take the hard coaching. Don't fight it. Take it. He's doing better from the pocket than he did before. He's not bailing so quickly. He's staying there and making his reads when he can. He's still probably a little too wild out there a little bit. Yeah. But I think this thing is going to work. And so we need it to work, honestly, Colin. We need great quarterbacks in this league. We need great quarterback coaching. We need Chicago to be good. We need that market to be good. They've been dying for a long time. So we need this thing to work for this league.
Yeah, I said there are organizations in sports, because of the Packers' success, knocking on your door up north. I think Chicago probably is in a situation, Baldy, where it's like, guys, if we give it 3 years, we give it 3 years. We have to make it work. Because if he goes to another organization and he gets a McVay.
Another reclamation project.
That's
the
right.
way we're seeing this whole league right now.
That's right. And you don't want that. So I do think I think he's getting better. And I am in Ben I trust guy as well. Baldy, you did a red eye. You're probably tired. You had to deal with the terminal at LAX that we all dread.
Not my favorite. I got my walk-in for the day, though, trying to get to my gate, though.
I know what gate it is. Great seeing you, Brian, as always.
Yep. Thanks, Colin. Talk to you soon.
You bet.